Python has become the go-to programming language for data science. These graphs from DataCamp illustrate this perfectly. On the left, you can see that the popularity of Python compared to R is growing at an accelerated rate based on the number of questions asked on Stack Overflow. And on the right, you'll see that Python has overtaken R for use in data science in recent years. There are many reasons that I think Python is dominating in this field, including its readability and the fact that it's a general-purpose programming language, meaning that it can easily be integrated with other things such as web applications. Python has many dedicated data science libraries, including NumPy and Pandas for data wrangling, Matplotlib and Seaborn for data visualization, and TensorFlow and scikit-learn for machine learning, statistical computing, and artificial intelligence. All of this makes Python perfect for everything from exploratory analysis right up to implementing AI. The purpose of this series is to take you from being an absolute beginner to understanding the fundamental Python programming concepts that you need to go on and learn data science in Python in the future. So if you're completely new to data science or come from a background of using graphical data programs such as Excel or Tableau, then this is the perfect place to start. If you're new to my channel, this is Harry Does Data. I'm Harry Norton and I make data science videos here on YouTube. I'd really appreciate it if you'd consider subscribing to my channel and giving this video a quick like. It will really help me bring these videos to a wider audience. Without further ado, let's get into it with how to download and set up Python. And make sure to stay tuned to the end when we'll be running our first Python program. Let's start by downloading and installing Python. So go to www.python.org/downloads. And if you're using Windows, you can simply click this Download Python 3.9.2 button here. If you're using a different operating system, you'll find the relevant link below. 3.9.2 is just the version of Python that I am using at the time of recording this video. This might be slightly different if you're watching in the future, but that shouldn't make too much of a difference. So let's just click Download, and this will download an executable file, which we then want to run. Let's click Add Python 3.9 to path because this will make our lives a bit easier later on. And other than that, we're going to leave all the settings as the defaults. Let's click Install Now. Once that's finished and we see that setup was successful, we can just click Close. Now that we have Python installed, we can just search for Python down here in the Windows search bar. And we can click on this Python 3.9 and that will open a new window. This is essentially the same as running the command prompt for Windows and typing Python in here. So we are now running two instances of Python. We have one in our command prompt here and one in a standalone Python shell. Now Python is an interpretive programming language. This essentially means that we can pass instructions to the Python interpreter and it will execute those instructions and return the results. So for example, we can pass the instructions 1 + 1 to the Python interpreter here, and that will return the value 2 to us. You can use a Python shell as a basic calculator like this, and this works just the same in our Python shell up here. So we could do 10 divided by 5, and that would return us 2. And this is great, but to really harness the power of programming, we need to write a script. A script allows us to write many instructions and pass them to the Python interpreter. The interpreter will then execute these instructions in order and return any results we ask it to. So let's quit our Python instances for now using the quit command, and that will close the window. And over here in our command prompt, we'll do the same thing. And in the command prompt, that has quit our Python instance, but we still need to just close the window there. And now we can look at writing a script. You can write scripts in a plain text editor such as Notepad, but there are tools designed to make writing code easier and more efficient. These are called Integrated Development Environments, or IDEs. IDEs make life easier with tools that automatically color your code to make it easier to read, and offering autocomplete suggestions as you write lines of code. When you download Python, it comes with the Python Integrated Learning and Development Environment, or IDLE. This is a fairly basic development environment that we are going to use to learn Python. It doesn't offer code completion, but I think that's for the best when you're trying to learn. You can run IDLE, again, by simply searching it down in the Windows search bar. So we'll search for IDLE, and then we'll just click on this IDLE Python 3.9. This will open a new window, an IDLE shell, which is the same as a Python shell which we opened previously. And you'll see that an instance of Python is already running here. So we can use it as a simple calculator just as we did before, and it will return us the result. Your IDLE windows may look a bit different to mine. I'll show you how to change the view settings at the end of this tutorial. But for now, let's concentrate on writing our first script. To do so, we need to go to File, New File, and this will open another window. This is an unsaved, untitled Python script. And so to save it, we need to go to File, Save As, and then we can find a suitable location on our computer. I've got a Python for Beginners folder here. And give it a suitable name such as tutorial1.py. And .py is just the file extension for a Python file. So we'll click Save. And now we are ready to write our first Python script. The traditional first program you write when learning a new programming language is Hello World. To write our Hello World program, we'll simply write print, open brackets, open quotation marks, type the words Hello World, and then close our quotation marks and close our brackets. You don't really need to understand exactly what's going on here, but essentially when we pass this script to the interpreter, we are asking it to return whatever is contained within these quotation marks to the screen. We can run this script by going to Run and Run Module, or by pressing S5, which is what I'll be doing in the future. We'll then be prompted to save our script, which you need to do before running, as otherwise the old version of your script is what will be passed to the Python interpreter, which in this case would essentially be an empty file. So let's just click OK, and we'll see that in the shell over here, the program is executed and Hello World is printed to the screen. I'm just going to drag these two windows to each side to make it easier to see in the future. So we can write our script on the left-hand side here, and then any results from our scripts will be presented to us by the shell on the right-hand side here. As I mentioned earlier, the power of scripting comes because we can write several instructions and execute them in order. So let's just add to our script to illustrate this. So we'll create an X variable, and we'll assign it the value 3. We'll create a Y variable and assign it the value 4. We'll then create a Z variable and assign it the value of X plus Y. Finally, we'll then have a print statement where we will print a simple message to the screen that says the value of Z is, and then we will give it whatever the value of Z actually is. Again, you don't need to understand exactly what's going on here, but we just want to illustrate that when we pass this script to the Python interpreter, it will run the first line and print Hello World. It will then save some variables, X and Y, with the values 3 and 4. Save the variable Z with a value of X plus Y, which will of course be 7. And then print this message to the screen, which will say the value of Z is. It will then find the value of Z, which is 7, and insert it here. So it will say the value of Z is 7. So let's press F5 and OK to save our file. And when we run, you'll see that Hello World is printed, just as I said. All of these commands are executed by Python, but they do not result in anything being printed to the screen. We then move on to the print statement, which prints the value of Z is 7. And that is our first Python script. Let's quickly finish off by showing you how to change the view settings of your IDLE windows. So go to Options, Configure IDLE, and on the first tab here, you can change the font and the size of your text in your IDLE window. And in Highlights over here, we can change from IDLE Classic, which is what yours will probably currently be set on, to something like IDLE Dark, which is my preference. And then if we click Apply and OK, then your window will be looking a bit more like mine. So that is it for this tutorial. We've downloaded and installed Python, and we've already run our first Python program, so well done guys. Thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, then please do me a massive favour and hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on more great data science content.